nailed that one.
Oh.
What's up, book nerds? The babes are back in town reading books. Welcome to episode 2 of Babes Reading Books Book Club.
Heck yeah.
BRCBC.
I think you added a couple already. Too many book clubs.
BRBBC.
Yeah, BRBBC.
Heck yeah.
We're back in the studio. I'm Roxanne.
I'm Vic.
I'm Nadia.
And together, we are the babes.
Yep. Make sure to subscribe so you can be a babe and you can keep up with our book club and you can read along and leave your opinions in the comments below.
About the book, not us.
Yeah.
Keep those to yourself, thank you.
But yeah, so the book of the month this month was Victory's pick. Vic pick.
Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie.
Woo! Agatha
Christie.
You know, I think she passed away before any of her books became popular, so she never knew how big she was.
That's so sad.
Rip. Don't worry. She knew how big she was up here.
She's our queen.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Happy International Women's Day.
Exactly. We gotta celebrate. We're all here together. The title kind of gives it away. So it's obviously a mystery novel.
There was a death on the Nile.
There was a death,
Believe
and
it or not.
they were on the Nile.
This was the book of the month. I guess we can go again, do our kind of ratings, overall thought, ratings, mystery, characters, overall thoughts. Break it down that way.
I'd give it a 4 out of 5. So it's a good read. A little hard to follow at times, but super predictable.
Okay.
All right.
I saw what happened from the beginning.
No way.
I will show you the page exactly when I knew what happened. I didn't know the details. I knew who did it the whole time though.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
So I guess I would rate this 4.2. Just because I think I enjoyed it more than I did One of Us is Lying. I like her writing style a lot. I did agree it's hard. You can get because it's a little bit old English, so you can't, if you're not fully focused on it, you can get a little lost. But I love the twists and turns. I liked how, for me, I didn't fully see it coming, but I like how, I guess we'll talk about it soon, but how you think it's gonna end one way, but then the next it's oh wait, no, it's not this person. It's not this person. It's you know what I mean? I like all the twists and turns at the end when they kept making you think it was one person and it wasn't. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. I just want to hold something. I don't know how to give it. I would say a 3.5 again. I do think I liked it better than One of Us is Lying, but slightly. I think I like the twists and turns, like you said, and it really she got me, with every single. I'm just so gullible with that type of thing, and it's even that what they want you to think can't possibly be it. I'm still oh yeah, of course. How did I not see this? And yeah, and the old English, I thought it would be much worse, and it was actually very readable, very understandable. But yeah, you definitely need to focus.
Yeah,
For me, it was just getting lost with the characters. The English,
yeah.
I caught on. It was just the characters I had a problem with because, and they would just they would not just refer to the person either first or last name every time. It was you had to piece it together. So they would talk about, they'd introduce the character with their first name, and then later they talk about him Mr. or Mrs. last name.
Yeah.
And then they'd revert back to the first name and the last and then the last name, but you have to kind of. So that was just a little bit too much wasted time of thinking. I was okay, wait, which one is this one?
Yeah.
But
and there are so many. I was so lost for the first half. I was I have no idea who these people are. But then eventually you kind of just get it.
Yeah. That's why immediately the first thing when I read this, because I read Murder on the Orient Express, kind of the same vibe where she throws a bunch of characters at first. So I was expecting that. So instantly when I was chapter 1 and there's a really long first chapter or part where it kind of introduces everyone, and I immediately just took a notebook out and I wrote down all the names in my own list because I was I know that I will not be able to keep track of all these people and who they are. So I wrote down literally everyone's name, who they are and who they're related to in some sort, because I was should have gave you guys a warning, but
oh, all good.
But
that's okay.
Yeah,
she throws a lot at once. That's why Nadia's book had literally a list.
Oh
which
yeah,
is so convenient. They should do that at everyone.
Yeah, that was really helpful. But it is towards the middle end.
Once you start getting it,
it's still I guess because yeah, whatever. It's just sorry. Yeah, like there's like two groups, and they're separated by like who the detective thinks maybe did it or who he thinks is innocent. So it's actually kind of cool too. Like we can look at it later, but if he was right, type of thing, then he was very wrong. Anyway,
What idiot?
yeah,
Pyro.
yeah.
What did you say?
Hercule Pyro. Pyro.
Isn't it Poirot?
It's Pyro. Pyro.
It's also because I was listening to the audiobook, so it's on the Hercule
Oh.
Poirot.
Poirot, yeah.
He's French with them.
Yeah. Oh, side note, if anyone listens to the audiobook, oh wow.
Do they give him an accent?
Everyone has an accent. It's horrible. Like it's not horrible because it's like it's good for like getting a sense of who's talking.
Yeah.
But
Hercule?
Hercule Poirot, he has like a French accent, and then the other guy, Race, like who's the other detective or something, Race?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has the most horrendous voice in the audiobook. I'll play just a snippet. It's so
I
bad.
want to hear this.
Like,
Yeah.
Oh.
I guess we're gonna get into the mystery, right?
/ what it was. The mystery was.
Yeah. So they introduce the. Yeah. Because I read that. So I read it all in one sitting because I borrowed Victory's book, so I had to read it. So actually, I think that's the only reason why I was able to keep up with the characters. If it took me longer between each thing, it would have been way harder. So I think Lynette
Yeah.
Ridgway.
Yeah.
She was a very beautiful and rich woman. She had a friend,
Jacqueline de Bellefort.
Jacqueline, and Jacqueline had a fiance, but then time will tell that her fiance Simon is now Lynette's husband.
Mr. Steele, you're a girl.
Dun dun dun. Yeah,
What a
that's
bad
a pretty
friend.
nasty thing to do. And it's just so they start by introducing this woman. She's beautiful, she's gorgeous, she's got it all. So again, I was like, is this a self-diary? Like, is this an autobiography? I was really confused. Did someone write a book about me?
Yeah.
It was really confusing at first. I was like, I had to like look up, make sure there's no one around watching me because it was a little creepy. Agatha Christie. I don't know how you managed to
How did you
perfectly encapsulate me. Cheers
Crazy.
to you. It's wild. But yeah, so they start with that, and then they set up all the characters and how they end up going on this cruise on the Nile. So the death doesn't happen right away, actually, which I was like waiting for the death.
Same.
Yeah.
I was like, why do they call it death on the Nile? One person's dead.
Literally it's like halfway through the book, no one's dead yet. And
I was like,
hello?
sorry, didn't know I came to life on the Nile. Like, ugh. But yeah, and then eventually, so they all end up, a whole bunch of people, like they all come from different walks of life. They all tell the story how they end up on this cruise. And then
not a
obviously,
coincidence.
dun dun dun, death. Obviously, it's the most flawless person on this planet. We can't have it all. So something's got to happen. So in this case, she got killed. I would never let that happen. Rookie mistake. Sleep light, always. She was killed in her sleep. And then a bunch of other people died. And then Hercule Poirot had to figure out who did it.
Yeah.
That's
Just
the
like
book.
that. That's like that.
Thanks for coming by.
The end.
Yeah.
There's a lot more, of course, details, but you just
Yeah.
have to read it to find out. But that's the basis of the story, was basically all around Lynette, and how it's convenient that all these people that are somehow have some kind of relation to her ended up on the same cruise.
Yeah.
Little
That's suspicious.
suspicious.
So should we just introduce every character?
Yeah,
then,
I guess we can go in. We can
There's like a
snapshot
bajillion.
Yeah.
them, run the list. So obviously we have Lynette Ridgway. What are thoughts on Lynette?
Oh my gosh, stunning, beautiful,
Gorgeous.
absolute 10 out of 10.
Did she
Smoke
deserve
show?
what she got?
No.
A little bit. Like she screwed over her friend
Yeah.
for no good reason too. Like I don't even think she liked that guy,
I'm
But
so
but
confused
here's-
why.
Yeah.
Well, no, you guys miss it? So she liked him or
Probably,
whatever, but
yeah.
then he specifically went after her because he wanted the money. Because
No,
they planned the whole thing.
I know,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
what
yeah.
why would she want him? Like he
Yeah.
seems just like
'Cause
an
he wanted
average
her.
Joe.
No, but that's the reason, because he wanted her. Do you remember when they first opened, like when she first opened the door to them? He introduced, and she was like, oh, like I can tell that he likes me. So she liked the attention that he was giving her, which he was giving her on purpose, which I was like,
Yeah.
mental,
Yeah.
right? And he rushed the wedding. So it's like, I was like,
He was
maybe she would have came to her
manipulating her.
sentence. She would have came to her senses. But yeah, so she died. Honestly, like their whole so that I'm 50-50 on, but her actions after, I'm like the way she was acting to Jacqueline was totally like so bitch, if you know what I'm saying. You know, like that I understand why she was murdered for. She stole what's his face? Simon. That's his name. I literally forgot his name. Simon. And then she was still like not the greatest to Jacqueline, and she was like always complaining about Jacqueline. She's like kind of like it's all about me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that I understand, because it's kind of like, okay, like you already stole her boyfriend. You cannot be shocked that this is her reaction type thing. Like you have to think like, okay, like what you did was dirty and nasty. You can, and then now like it's kind of like, okay, the action happened, but I'm like, now you're complaining, like.
You gotta accept you're under stalker.
Yeah, I was like,
that's a little extra too, but whatever. Like, I think I knew it was coming that she was gonna end up with Simon, Linnet. But once they said that, I was like, okay, this has to be some kind of like setup between like it has to be done on purpose. Yeah, because it doesn't make, in my head, it didn't make any sense to me. Like all of a sudden, why is she married to her best friend's husband? All of a sudden, out of the blue, something sus.
I thought she was just a bad person. I mean, like, what she is, but I just miss all this stuff.
She didn't say like, oh, I wanted Simon. She said she was like, oh, she could tell immediately that he wanted her. So I was like, this is weird, because it's like you don't even know this woman, you know.
Who else was there? We have Joanna Southwood. So this was Lynette's friend who wasn't on the Nile.
No,
but she's
cousins with Tim.
Yeah,
she's cousins with Tim.
Yeah,
I thought there was like a love interest.
So did I. They were setting it up that they're like making it seem like they were in love with each other.
Because what the mom was saying was that Tim is like a little bit obsessed. Too weird, like not just obsessed. That he was like keeping things private from her, and that's like unusual. She was like, he would let me read any letter except from her. So she was worried that it was like incest, but it wasn't. Surprise, surprise, naturally.
But my main theory throughout the whole book, obviously I did think it was Jacqueline a bit, but then I was like, it's kind of too obvious. But my main theory that I was so convinced that I was like, Tim and Joanna are doing something. Like, what's the point of introducing this character, Joanna?
Yeah.
But her not coming on the Nile cruise.
True.
So then I was like, is she there, like, undercover? Is she someone? Like, I'm like, she's in cahoots with Tim doing some kind of shady business. That was my most prominent theory.
You're not wrong.
I wasn't wrong. It wasn't the right one, but...
No, for me, I just thought they were incestuous, and I was like, ugh, disgusting. Get out of my face.
Yeah. Tim was Joanna's second cousin, and there's Mrs. Allerton, which was his mother. Mrs. Bowers. Who is she?
Oh, she's like the nurse. Like
the nurse of the who? Because there's another mother-daughter. Rosalie Otterburn, Mrs. Otterburn?
Yeah.
Yes, Mrs. Otterburn.
No, there's a mother-daughter, and then an aunt niece. And then the nurse. It was aunt niece nurse. Andrew Pennington, that was the shady accountant guy.
Yeah.
Jim Farthrop, that was the extra, like,
this really smart guy.
The really smart guy.
So Jim was there because he was suspicious of Andrew Pennington.
Yeah, and the old man sent Jim on the cruise because he didn't want to go. Then we had Mrs. Otterburn and Rosalie Otterburn. No, Louise's maiden in the net. Oh, Signor Ricchetti, that Italian guy.
Yeah.
Dr. Besner, the doctor guy. Mrs. Bowers, hospital nurse of Cousin Marie and Mrs. Van Schumer. There we go.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's all the main characters.
Yeah.
Also, do you get the vibes that Hercule Poirot was like trying to get with Rosalie Otterburn, like throughout the I was like, did anyone pick up on that? Like,
didn't they come in together?
They were like, he was always. I think they were talking together a lot on the cruise, and like it just.
Rosalie Otterburn and Poirot came onto the thing together.
Yeah, he was like,
and they were big time flirting, like towards the end. And I was like, what's going on?
But yeah, those are all the characters.
Yeah,
a lot of them, but
too many.
Honestly, it's hard to keep.
But it's good. It's good for confusing you.
Exactly.
Like, you're just like I don't even know who that is.
But yeah, so Lynette and her husband Simon, they went on the Nile cruise
for their honeymoon.
And then everyone ends up being there, which, like, isn't that like a red flag? If you're there and suddenly everyone you're connected is there.
Yeah.
So strange. Like, a little bit sus.
Especially back in the day, because it's like no connection. You know, someone else is like Snapchatting what they're doing, and someone's like, "Oh, that's a good idea. I should do it too." But it's like this. It's like, what are you doing?
What are the odds?
Yeah.
What are the odds? But one of the things is random because they start at like a hotel before they get on the cruise. That's kind of how they all get acquainted. Then obviously Hercules, it shows him like kind of talking to everyone and reading everyone's like vibe. I think Linnet comes to him and says she doesn't feel safe, right?
Yeah.
At some point, yeah. Jacqueline's there and shows up, of course, which also, like, I get that she stole your man, but like, why are you stalking this girl? Like, you know what I mean?
I mean,
whatever.
Well, I knew why.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I didn't either.
I was also like, okay, weird, but I guess.
I was just like, there's no way that she would know that Linnet was on this trip. Like, all these people were saying that they were going on the trip because Linnet was going. Even Tim, he went because Joanna knew, because Joanna was friends with Linnet.
I just realized you triggered me, because I wrote down this note. Maybe Jackie and Simon collab. That's why Jackie knows where Linnet is always. Because I clocked onto it. I'm like, that is right. I was like, how does she know? Like, everyone else got an invitation or whatever, knew they were going on their honeymoon. I'm like, how is she there? I'm like, someone must be telling her. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so then they head on their cruise. They get off on an excursion. I think they didn't introduce the Italian guy and the doctor till like the midway point. Yeah. But they get off on a little excursion, and then a boulder comes. That part was random.
Yeah.
Almost killing. Who did that again? Was that Andrew Pennington?
Pennington, yeah.
Yeah. But it was an accident.
He said it was an accident.
Which I guess it was, right? Because he wasn't like actually trying to kill her.
But he like it might have been like he was like tempted and then he wanted to do it. But then like since she didn't, he was like, oh shoot, like like what was I thinking? That's what I thought the vibe was a little bit. Because by then his job was threatened. But I was like, if someone tries to put a boulder, like I just felt like it was so random that it was like someone who didn't really want to kill her because they wanted to, they could do something better, and then they did. But
yeah, so then they get off on their excursion, they do that. Now obviously Lynette's like freaking out now. She's a little more scared because Boulder almost crushed the girl. She's back on the boat. And then I think then it leads to like that big night in like the parlor when like Jackie's there, and then she's with Rosalie, I think, talking to her, and Rosalie just wants to leave. But Jackie was like, nah, girl.
Talking her ear
You're
off.
staying, yeah. And then she starts taunting Simon, who's at the bar. They start getting in a heated little fight, and then all of a sudden, she whips out her little pistol in her purse, bang, bang, shoots Simon in the leg. I think Jim Farthrop was present there, and then Rosalie was there, and then Jackie. Or no, they left Simon there. Well, they took away Jacqueline, because Jacqueline was like inconsolable or whatever. So I think Rosalie walked with Jacqueline to her room or something, and then
they went to get the nurse to watch Jacqueline, and then they got the doctor to come to Simon.
Yeah, and then brought him back to his room. So technically, and then so while this is all going down, the next morning they wake up and Linnet is dead, bullet through the head
in her bed. Whoa! That was pretty
good.
You guys killed it.
So she's dead in her bed. And obviously, so it seems as if Andrew, Jackie, Rosalie, and Jim are kind of in the clear because they all were each other's alibis. They couldn't have done it, right? Now, also, I don't know when they introduced that other detective guy.
Race, the same guys when the other ones came on.
Oh, the same guy. Yeah. There's another called Race was the name, right?
I think he was from a different book, I presume. That's how they made it sound. That like it was another case that they worked on. And then I think like Hercule, like he solved his part of the mystery or whatever, but then Race was dealing with, he still had a side mystery, so he came on the boat to solve that.
I don't know Race, like I've never read any of her books or anything. Like I was kind of confused like why he was introduced. I was so suspicious of him. Like I thought it was him like for the like whole second half. I was like, who is this guy? Like why is he here?
Yeah, it's kind of random.
Is he his sidekick? Did you read the?
See, the thing is, I can't remember if his name is Race, but there was another guy there with him.
It's probably Race, and then it explains because Hercule Poirot came on the ship on vacation. Like, he wasn't on the job, and then so I think they just had to have a way of like getting his sidekick there. That's what I was thinking. That's what I got the vibe of. This honestly could be false.
No, I think it was because they introduced Race being like, oh, he's now because there's a killer on the loose or something. Yeah. And he thinks they traced him to the ships, and he's like, my killer's on the ship, and then conveniently when that dies, then they're like, oh, is it the same person? We got to figure it out. So then, like basically the third half of the book is kind of them questioning everyone, getting everyone's stories.
So just you said the third half. It just made me laugh. There's no third half, but it continues.
You know what I mean?
Third part.
The third part of the book. There we go. So he's basically questioning everyone, and here's where it gets kind of fun because you're like, who did it? They found out they hit a plop in the ocean. That was a big thing. So then they retrieved the gun from the ocean. I was like, how?
So confused.
Did they get that? Was it just floating around? And it was in one of the ladies' handkerchiefs. I forget which
And
old
like,
lady.
how did it not separate in the ocean?
And
Like,
not even just that, the cruise is still moving.
Yeah.
What, did you guys send a couple, like, out back, know precisely where to look?
In
This
the
is back in the
ocean.
day.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not a lake. It's an
oh, wait,
ocean.
no. On the Nile. It's a river.
Oh.
in the river.
But
whatever.
Still, it's more just like about,
Huge.
like, how much are you're still sifting through it.
Yeah, you're moving.
You know?
There was
like,
still some time between the two, so I was confused
yeah,
how
that
they
was
got
so
the gun.
unrealistic.
But I was like, whatever. Was it Jacqueline's gun, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It had her inscription in it or whatever.
Yeah, and two shots were lost.
And, big point is that after she shot Simon, she dropped it on the floor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a big thing that Hercule was like, okay, someone knew it was on the floor, and she kicked it under the couch, so she wouldn't, or someone kicked it on the couch and she wouldn't use it again, or she did, I think. So someone was like, he knew that someone had to know where that was. So he's like, was someone looking through the window? He was like sussing it all out.
Yeah.
And then, the maid was suspicious, right? Then they also introduced that the old maid wanted to marry the engineer, and Lynette like called it like quits.
Yeah.
That was kind of random.
Yeah, that was so strange.
And I was like,
Just
why?
to throw you off.
Yeah, I was like, what? So now the maid's looking sus. She was the last one to see her alive. Oh, Hercule also found like red nail polish or something in Lynette's room.
Red ink.
Red ink there, yeah. So that was another thing.
Pearls,
Oh, her
like
pearls
someone
are missing.
stole
Yeah.
Lynette's pearls from her room. So they were like, oh, maybe the killer. I was the killer, but...
Yeah. And then someone saw, I think it was Rosalie on the deck outside the room, right? Ben Schumer saw Rosalie.
Oh, yeah.
But then it's figured out that Rosalie had her mom's drunk.
Yeah.
So then she was thrown over the alcohol.
That was
over
the
it.
plot.
That was the
they
plot.
heard.
So they eliminated that.
Yeah, and then we find out that the maid got killed. So Lynette's maid was murdered. And then, like, really quickly, they found out that, like, she had money in her hands. So they were like, oh, she clearly saw what happened. And she must have blackmailed the killer. And then the killer killed them. And she was stabbed with a scalpel. But then the doctor was all like, oh, all my scalpels are here. Look. So this woman said something. And she was like, oh, I know who killed the maid, and she was coming in to tell them who killed the maid, and then she got shot. Bang.
Yeah.
Right.
Miss
Yeah,
Van
there's only
Schumer
three.
gone,
There's only
right?
three. Yeah.
Was it
Van
Miss
Schumer?
Otterborn.
I get so confused.
Yeah.
Miss Otterborn. Gone.
Yeah.
Dunzo.
Done.
Rip.
So now those are everyone who's dead. So now Hercule kind of sits in a room with Race, and he starts bringing in the last people like that aren't on his suspect list, right? I think in group 2.
Yeah.
So he kind of goes through all of them, and I think he starts with Andrew Pennington, I believe, was the first one.
Yeah.
And then they find out the real reason why he's there. He wanted to inherit, I think, Lynette's money.
No, he did inherit it, but he lost it in the stock market, bad investments. So since she got married, it went to her before her 21st birthday, but he hadn't had time to make the money back.
Oh,
So he wanted to sign a bunch of papers to keep giving him power of attorney over the money, because or over her dad's money or whatever. But then she was like, oh, I'm a businesswoman and I read everything, every contract. So then he was like, okay, like don't sign it. So he pretty much lost, I don't know if all of the money, but I think a bunch of money.
This is what I loved about this book, was like this section from like here on out, kind of, because I kept being like, oh, like I loved all the twists and turns, how like everything that you thought was part of the murder, like necessarily wasn't, you know what I mean? So like the boulder wasn't part of like the murder's plan. Like I really liked all the twists and turns there.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
Finding out that like a lot of people are guilty of different things. But not the murder, you know?
Because then next they bring in Tim, I think, and then we find out that he's in cahoots with Joanna, and they run a thieving business, and they're the ones who stole the pearls.
The maid found it because her woman was a kleptomaniac. So she stole the pearls first. The old woman, the Van Schumer or whatever.
Oh.
So she stole the pearls, and then the woman went to put them back, I think. And then she saw someone leaving, I think. Something like that. 'Cause she didn't want the old woman to get caught.
Because
the real
they
pearls.
the
real because they swapped them
Yeah.
Yeah, they had swapped them earlier, like
Yeah.
not that night, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then I think the maid found the old Schwentrumer found the fake ones.
Yeah.
She
And
took the fake
stole
ones.
them.
Yeah.
And then Rosalie returned them.
Oh, so then they were trying to find out the murderer from the previous thing or whatever, why Race was there. And then they found out that it was Mr. Ricchetti by questioning him because they were like, oh, like, why?
Oh, it was in
Because it was the letter. Because remember?
The Mr. Ricchetti was in the letter with like
yeah.
the peaches or like
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
the
like
fruit,
ingredients or whatever.
and
and
that
he got,
was like a code for something.
Yeah, and he got really, like, I think it was for weapons, I think.
Yeah.
And he got really mad
At Lynette.
at Lynette for reading the mail or whatever, and then Hercule was like, oh, okay. So then they found out that it was him.
But then they finally reveal the big murder of how it happened. It ends up being a Jackie and Simon collab.
Literally, just as Vicky predicted, just as I knew. But yeah, so it turns out Simon and Jackie plotted the whole thing.
From the beginning.
Literally from the very beginning, from him becoming his, like, married to her, and then killing her, and then getting back together with Jackie. But yeah, so the way, like, they accomplished it, because the importance of them finding the gun was that they saw 2 shots were taken, which means one was to shoot Simon and one was to shoot what's-her-face, Lynette. But the whole issue was that they were like, well, there's no one who was like free and available to shoot Lynette with the gun because no one else was watching. Well, the whole point was that Simon wasn't actually shot to begin with. So that's why, so then he went and shot Lynette, and then he came back and shot himself for real. So still 2 bullets. How did they?
It was so extra because she shot the wall, and then the whole commotion they took him out, and while he was gone, Simon somehow jumps the balcony, shoots Lynette, gets back up, and then shoots himself in the leg. So that was how he accomplished it really quick.
But so I think there was an extra gun. There's another gun.
There was another gun. Jackie put it in someone's purse.
Yeah.
Was it Rosalie's purse?
Yeah.
So she had the extra gun. That was
Yeah.
hers. That's how it ended up in her purse.
Yeah.
They put the napkin over it. I
Yeah,
think to make
so-
it sound quieter.
and
in
he-
Lynette.
Yeah. The handkerchief.
Handkerchief,
Yeah.
sorry.
And then he wasn't actually shot, and that's why they had the red dye. It was to pretend to make it seem like he was all bloody or whatever.
Yeah. Jackie took the scalpel. I don't know, was it Simon or Jackie that stabbed the... Oh, no, Jackie came to Simon's room talking, and then Jackie took the scalpel, killed the maid.
Yeah,
With the scalpel.
But what happened? So the maid came into the room with Simon, Hercule, and Race, and was saying like, "Oh, like I wish I was standing outside the room to see someone leaving." But so she was hinting to Simon that she saw him and that she knew that he killed her. So then she ended up getting killed, and then Jackie had to do all the other murders or whatever, and she pretended to like be asleep for I think the
old lady shoot one.
Yeah, the shooting.
That was that.
Yeah.
Then they almost got away with it. If it wasn't for Hercule.
Yep. Classic Hercule. But yeah, and then at the very end, one last hurrah. Jacqueline goes bop to Simon and bop to herself. And
I forgot him.
Okay, do you think that was premeditated, or do you think
No.
she just did that?
I think it had something to do with. Well, I think she just did that because it was like like she loved Simon so much it was life or death or whatever, so that they were gonna get separated, go to jail, so that she chose death.
Yeah, I think it's
For both.
because that she knew they failed. At the end they failed. They both weren't gonna end up together anyway, so they ended up together in jail, but like not.
But I could see
together.
I think I could totally see her making a note to herself, being like, okay, if this fails, like, we're gonna kill ourselves, because she had a second gun. So I think she planned it, but I don't think Simon knew about it. I agree, though. I think that was a good point. I didn't see that coming, because I was just like, oh, okay. But yeah, I knew it was Simon and Jacqueline the minute they got on the boat, and like Jacqueline said, and then Lynette was like, oh, she's everywhere we go, like, but like all these places, and I was like, Simon's in on it or whatever. Like, I didn't know the exact logistics of how they pulled off the killing, but I was like, I know something. And the minute he was like, oh, don't wake up Lynette, I was like, oh, something's awry, you know? I was like...
What was that? Don't wake up Lynette.
Well, it's because he, for some reason, didn't want her to know about this, but I was like, oh, it's because...
Oh, about the
I was
leg.
like, it's something else, yeah. So I think it was just because, I mean, he needed her killed. And then also Hercule was, he was drugged right before.
Oh, right.
And then, like, Race was like, what? And I was like, he literally said he was feeling extremely tired. I was like, that's drugging 101, you know?
Race is not super bright.
Yeah.
That's why I was so sus of him. And, like, one time, Hercule was, like, accusing someone else, and, like, it kind of seemed like things were going towards, like, it's gonna be Race, and it was, like, Race shifted uncomfortably in his seat, and I was like...
Yeah, that was so weird. They were like, oh, he's, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, they were just, like, talking about how much Race was, like, reacting to this news, and I was like, what are they doing? I was like, that would be dope, though, if it turned out to be Race, but then I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure he's a main character, so I was like, it's not gonna be him, but... Listen, a girl can dream.
For some reason, I totally wrote off Simon. Like, especially when he got shot in the leg, 'cause I did not think of that whole thing. Then I was like, it can't be this guy. He has one leg. He's a leg down. So I completely wrote him off. And at the end, I was like, oh my god.
Genius.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I do think it was a good plot, though. A little silly for them to keep going with it now that Hercule is on the boat. Just for no reason. Like, just no reason other than, like, this man's obviously going to snoop around. You know? I was like... One of the old women always trying to talk to Hercule. I was like, enough. It felt like she was all up in my grill.
Oh, Miss Allerton,
Yeah, she was like all up in my grill. I was like, ugh, she's gone. I'm trying to figure out the murder.
Oh my god, we have to talk about this. So, obviously, just beyond, like, the little flirting between Rosalie and Hercule, I think, and then all of a sudden, it takes a turn where Mr. Farthrop is, like, proposing to the cousin Marie,
not
Marie,
Mr.
right?
Farthrop, Mr.
No, was it James Farthrop? It was James.
No, the other guy. The worst guy. There's another
There's three
guy.
married, Tim, yeah.
No, hold on 1 second.
Yeah, because it just gets, all of a sudden, everyone's proposing to everyone at the end, and I'm like, where did this come from?
It's not Mr. Farthrop, it's the other guy, like, Ferguson. It's Mr. Ferguson. He proposes to Rosalie, and then she ends up marrying the doctor.
Yeah. Oh, no, that was Cousin Marie. Rosalie ended up going with Tim, I think.
Oh, sorry.
Which, that came out of the blue, like, just all of a sudden, like, it started off with Ferguson going crazy, like, he's like, I have to marry you.
Yeah.
Like, all of a sudden obsessed with this girl, and I was like,
Ferguson.
I think it's Farthrop.
No, it's not. It's definitely not.
Oh, no, it is Ferguson, political, He's like the political guy.
Yeah.
Well, then who's Farthrop?
He's the smart guy. Ferguson's like the dum-dum. Like, he just, like, big talk, no...
Yeah.
He was, like, really
the
very political.
One.
Yeah.
I just thought they were the same for some reason.
No, this guy's very quiet. Fanthrop. He is very quiet, and he's just, like, smart, quiet, and, like... and then this guy was just, like, loud, like,
that's who,
annoying.
Every time I've said Farthrop, I've meant Ferguson, because I have no memory of Farthrop, but I meant Ferguson. Yeah, because Ferguson's the really political, like, arrogant guy. Yeah, so this guy comes out of nowhere. It's like, I need to marry Cousin Marie over here, and I'm like, what the frick? Like, where did that come from? But turns out Marie's in love with the doctor, which I was like, what the heck?
What?
And then all of a sudden, Tim's proposing to Rosalie, and I was like, where did this come from? Like, they did hint a little bit toward Marie being obsessed with the doctor, but, like, that's the only, like, kind of connection they had, and at the end, they were just throwing all these proposals, and, like, I was like...
Yeah, I get, like, marriage wasn't a big deal back then.
I mean,
or, like, it wasn't as big of a build-up back then.
But it was just, like, it just came out of nowhere, and I was like, I thought we were dying on the Nile. Didn't we get married and engaged on the Nile?
It all happened all at once, and everyone's getting married to everyone, and I was like, how does Hercule feel about Rosalie?
Yeah. I bet you if this wasn't a series, he would marry Rosalie for sure. Lots of marriage.
Yeah.
Everybody calm down.
So random. Oh my gosh. Simon's gonna do it on his own, and then he told Jacqueline that they did it. I was like, also, Jacqueline, I don't know why you would let that happen. I was like...
Because she seems smart enough to know that, like, this wasn't gonna work. Like, she didn't want to do it. But she ended up doing it because she loved him, and he knew he was gonna do it no matter what. So she's like, whatever, I'll go along with it.
She wanted to make sure he lives.
Yeah.
Or, like, doesn't get caught or whatever, I don't know.
Just so, I was like, I just hated Simon from the very beginning. Bad vibes. I was like, if he's ditching one girl to go for another, I was like, he's a bad apple. Like, bad to the core. Ugh. And I thought he was gonna die, and I was like... But then he didn't. It was just in the leg, and I was like, boring, snooze fest. Agatha, let's kill Simon sooner. Hey guys, if someone wants to redo the Death on the Nile, here's a fun tidbit. Just kill Simon off in the beginning, just for funsies. You know? That was literally my vibe, like, the entire freaking time. I was like, I just hate Simon. Every time he popped up, I was like, ugh. Yeah, I also, for some reason, I didn't like the doctor. Not for no particular reason. I just didn't really like him. But, I didn't like him. I liked Rosalie. I didn't like Tim Allerton, but I liked Fanthrop.
did not. I like Fanthor too. That's why I remember him so much.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't remember
I'm
this
like,
guy
no, it
at
wasn't.
all.
It wasn't Fanthor. It wasn't him.
Who I have no
James-
memory of James. Like,
James is the
not a
guy who
clue.
the other guy sent. He was the other money person.
Wasn't that
No.
Ferguson?
No, Ferguson was a random guy who
Ferguson?
worked on the boat, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
he's just
Or, like, he was
Ferguson's
just there.
random.
I'm pretty sure. I'm almost confident I went through the whole book thinking it was the same person. So
For me, it was
my
the old
bad.
ladies that I kept messing up. I was like, I don't know.
Even
who's
now,
who.
like I don't know which one's which.
Yeah.
One's sweet and one's cranky.
Yeah. Wait, which one's? See, I don't
There's
know.
three old
Oh,
ladies.
there's three old ladies.
There's three old ladies.
Yeah,
But I knew
Allerton is
Allerton.
sweet.
Sweet.
I know
they
her.
barely talked about the Rosalie one because she was always in her room drunk. And mentioned was the cranky one with the nurse. You know, one thing that I want to point out, a detail, and I noticed in the book that I really, really appreciated. I don't know if anyone else knows, but they started the book off with like this random man. It was Mr. Burnaby, so he was like the owner of some restaurant, and they started off with him like reading whatever a gossip about Lynette, and they ended with him talking about her death, like the gossip and the thing, and I was like, that is a beautiful detail. So shout out to Agatha Christie.
When I finished this, I was like, "Who's Mr. Burnaby?" But I was like, "Okay, whatever." Like,
Yeah, he's
Fair
the
enough.
same one that he started. I just love that. I don't know. I noticed that, and I was like,
Yeah,
wow,
that's
that
so
is
good.
attention to detail, Agatha.
Overall, I think I did enjoy the read. Like, don't get me wrong. I just felt like it could have been done differently. That was a little bit less confusing.
yeah, a
like-
bit too confusing, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, maybe making notes is a good idea because
Yeah, but I was like, if you have to make notes on a book, you're just studying at this point, you know? You keep going between Mr. and then their first name and their last name, and I'm just like, it's just too much. I was like, just kind of like stay consistent with that.
But I think that's kind of also her writing style, because Murder on the Orient Express is pretty similar. You know, I love the way she writes. I love like all the detail, and I love how it's not just like one answer. Like there's like obviously like someone did the pearl, someone did the boulder, someone like I love that. I really like that.
Yeah, I like the
Appreciate
side. The side plots were good too.
That was Death on the Nile.
Nadia, let's introduce your pick of the month.
Is it time for next month's book?
Woohoo! My pick of the month is Verity by Colleen Hoover, a big TikTok favorite. But I've seen only good reviews for this, so hopefully we like it. Should I read the back?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Lowen Ashley is a struggling writer on the brink of financial ruin when she accepts the job offer of a lifetime. Jeremy Crawford, husband of best-selling author Verity Crawford, has hired Lowen to complete the remaining books in a successful series his injured wife is unable to finish. Lowen arrives at the Crawford home ready to sort through years of Verity's notes and outlines, hoping to find enough material to get her started. What Lowen doesn't expect to uncover in the chaotic office is an unfinished autobiography Verity never intended for anyone to read. Page after page of bone-chilling admissions, including Verity's recollection of the night her family was forever altered. Lowen decides to keep the manuscript hidden from Jeremy, knowing its contents could devastate the already grieving father. But as Lowen's feelings for Jeremy begin to intensify, she recognizes all the ways she could benefit if he were to read his wife's words. After all, no matter how devoted Jeremy is to his injured wife, a truth this horrifying would make it impossible for him to continue loving her. Wow.
Yo, that's so good.
I have no idea where
I'm
that's
so
going.
excited to
So
read.
spooked. Yeah, I'm so excited too.
I've only seen good things on TikTok too. Like I've seen things people recommend. It's like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
I'm excited to read it now.
Yeah.
So guys, make sure you go to the library, get the book, find the audiobook, and read along so you can talk with us next month.
But yeah.
But yeah, make sure to leave all your comments about who you thought was the murderer and anything you want to talk about Death on the Nile.
Yeah, we'd love to hear more opinions.
Exactly. Let's get our babe community growing.
Babes reading books.
Babes reading books.
Babes reading books.
But yeah, guys, make sure to subscribe and join the book club, and we'll see you next month.
Babes out.